Oh no, which way does the road go? I am pretty sure I came from down the hill. Man, I want to see a rattlesnake. I want to find me a rattlesnake out here so I can look at him, look him straight in the eye, and be all like, Mr. Rattlesnake, what are you doing? Moved to California. It's supposed to be rattlesnakes everywhere. Mojave Desert poison and stuff. You know, it's supposed to be more deadly over here. It's supposed to be like this multi-toxin. I thought there was a deer down there. I was wrong. My mistake. Anyways, it's supposed to have like a Mojave toxin in California and like Southern California and stuff. And I'm not down where it's supposed to be. I'm like in the top range of where it might exist. They don't know. But still, you're supposed to be able to find some rattlesnakes out here. Everybody's freaking out. Like, oh my God. Oh my God, there's rattlesnakes in them there hills. There are rattlesnakes everywhere. You got to be real careful. Real careful. Don't go out there alone. You go with a snake sniffing dog. Bring a horse if you can. Like, get 2 vials of anti-venom. Put it in your back pocket. Like, everybody's freaking out. There's so many snakes in them hills. I've been catching snakes my whole life. I've been messing around with little slithering creepy crawlies my whole life. Like, literally my whole life. Caught my first snake when I was like a baby. Snatched it up off the ground. Really enjoyed just studying snakes. They're interesting animals to me. So I'm all keen to find a rattlesnake just to kind of look at him, you know, watch him in his natural habitat, see what they do out here. I've caught rattlesnakes back where I came from in the southeast. Came from Louisiana. Should be, I hit that log. Should be no surprise to some of you. You hear my accent that people say that I have. Like, what accent? What are you talking about? I only say y'all like every other word. That doesn't make me southern. Anyways, from Louisiana, and caught a bunch of rattlesnakes out there. You know, we have canebrake rattlesnakes, eastern diamondback. I can't. Pygmy rattlesnakes. I couldn't think of it for a second. I was like, it's the itty bitty ones that are like gray sometimes. Got a bunch of water moccasins. Oh my gosh, water moccasins everywhere. There was one day, all by itself, I decided to have myself a little water moccasin roundup rodeo, kind of like they do in, I was like 13, kind of like they do in Texas, you know, where they got these rattlesnake roundups, which I think is sad because the populations are kind of dwindling on these snakes. So I don't think they should be doing that, but whatever. It's a different discussion. Maybe this will be another portion of the video I'll have, the rattlesnake discussion portion. Decided to have myself like a water moccasin roundup, like rodeo type thing. Sun up to sundown, like dark to dark. Catch as many water moccasins as you can catch. I ended up with 42 snakes that day, and a couple of my friends, they had in the teens. You know, I was an expert snake sniffer, boy. Man, I could find them anywhere. I could find them, man. I studied them. I studied their habitat. I would make notes of where I found different snakes. I kept records of how long every snake was, where I caught it. I didn't sex them back then, and I don't mean sex them as in today's lingo, where you're like, oh yeah, let's smash or something. That's gross, and it's a snake. Fucking weirdos. No, sexing a reptile is where you either probe it with a special probe so that you can find out whether or not it has a penis or not inside of it. And, oops, almost went down. And you basically determine the sex of a reptile by sexing the reptile. So I didn't sex them back then. So I didn't keep track of the sex, but I did keep track of the length, the species, You know, I was into it. Like, I kept the Latin name and everything. You know, I kept it all. Had a big spreadsheet. I was like a nerdy outdoorsman. Like, I didn't spend my time playing video games. I didn't spend my time inside much. I had a field guide, and I was in the woods all the time. Every day, all day. Every day, all day. I had a spreadsheet of all the snakes that I caught, and I cataloged them, and I kept them by year and then by seasons. The spring and summer was one page, and then the fall was the other one. And the reason why I kept the fall one separate was because I was tracking, and I kept like the date that I caught them and everything. I was tracking which species in the area stopped showing up, like when they went into hibernation, basically. Like when around the time of the year you could expect them to be gone for the year, you know. And so then a snake hunt day might not be worth it anymore. Herping, field herping, you know. So I would keep those separate just so that I could keep track of the last appearances of a snake in a given year or given season. So I'd keep track of all that stuff, and I did that between the ages of about 12 and probably 16 was when I quit. When I quit really tracking which snakes I caught. And I would catch, you know, 100 and like 150 to 225, 230 snakes a year. So I was catching, you know, 3-4 snakes a day throughout the summer. And I'd measure them all, mark everything down, the date, location, time of the day, the temperature outside, ambient temperature. I didn't have anything to track humidity or anything. And, you know, in Louisiana, you're pretty much guaranteed one of two things. It's either 98% humidity or it's 95% humidity. And those are kind of your two options. So, you know, you just know the humidity is real high. No real reason to track it. They wouldn't say 3% is scientifically significant anyways, right? I caught like 42 snakes on that water moccasin roundup day that I had when I was like 13. And my friends, the next closest friend had like 12 or so snakes. And we lived we lived right next to the swamp, so you could find these things everywhere. He had like 12 or 13 snakes. The next closest person had like six snakes. And then one of my brothers, he caught like 2 or 3 snakes, and then he got bored with it, so he quit catching snakes. He went and did something else. My two friends, they were twins, and so they were kind of competitive with each other. So they kept the hunt up, looking for snakes for most of the day. Man, I smoked them that day. I had sacks and sacks full of these snakes. Snake sack. What I would do is I took a pillowcase and the little trim on the top edge, you know, the open end where they fold it over and they sew it, cut a little slot in one layer of that and then run a string through it so you can cinch it down, you know. And I would cinch it down and then use the string to tie a knot around the end of the bag. Man, I had bags and bags of those snakes, and people would see me walking down the street going back home to drop off another bag full of snakes. What's in that bag? Snakes. And they were like, oh, you got snakes in that bag? Oh my God. What are you doing with snakes in that bag? I'm like, I'm just measuring them. I catch them and measure them and then release them. You should kill them. The only good snake is a dead snake. No, I don't believe that. But a lot of people do, unfortunately. Snakes don't do anything to humans, really. They don't care. They'd rather just leave us alone. Caught a bunch of snakes that day. It was awesome. Only did it once. I was gonna make it kind of an annual thing, but man, I smoked the competition so hard. I caught like 4 times as many snakes as the next closest guy. I just was like, whatever. I can catch snakes all day, every day, any day. It's not a challenge, so I hung that hat up, you know. I just decided to keep my records and not really catch that many snakes anymore. Plus, everybody wanted me to kill all the snakes. They were like, kill them all, kill them all. Water moccasins, they're not super transitory snakes. They're kind of localized snakes. They kind of have a territory whenever they grow up, and you know, they'll get pushed out of their territory as populations expand. But they're going to be in the same area year after year. If you let them come out of hibernation, they're going to kind of find the same hunting grounds, and they'll be kind of poking around that same area. And I covered so much area catching those 40-something snakes that had I killed all of them, I think it would have made a really big impact on the ecological balance of that predator in that given area, because I crisscrossed the area. Like I really believe I caught most every snake in that little area. And then I think it would have made a huge impact on their population in that area, just as far as numbers go, because you know, it's going to affect the ability to successfully breed the next year and find good stock for both the females and for the males. I don't know. I feel like it would have ruined them for a few years anyway. You know, I don't think it would have been permanent. I don't think it would have been horribly impossible to fix it or anything, but didn't feel like it was the ecologically responsible thing to do to kill 40 snakes in a fell swoop. They did kill one of the ones one of my friends caught. Was like 38 inches long. So he killed that one, and he actually mounted it, you know, skinned it up and put it up on a mount to kind of show people how big that those snakes can get. And that was pretty impressive. That was one really fat snake, because I don't know if you know anything about water moccasins, but they get really fat, like really wide bodies, but their bodies don't get that long. Not compared to like an eastern diamondback, where I've got a picture of myself holding an eastern diamondback that's over 5 feet long. He's like 5'6" or something like that. Rattlesnakes, they get long, you know, they get long and fat. Water moccasins, they get really heavy bodied, really fat, and not that long. So I think their max length is in the 40s, like 42, 43 inches, something like that. I don't know that for a fact. I have to look it up for sure. All right, onward. Onward to the house. Only killed one of them. We released the rest of them, but we kind of spread them out, kind of like how we had caught them. We didn't put the snake exactly back where we found that one particular snake, but we made sure the population was spread back out, and it was out away from the neighborhood and stuff, so they weren't going to come back into the neighborhood immediately. But anyway, those are some of my snake catching stories. Well, one of them anyways. I got so many. I've never been bit by a poisonous snake. Fortunately, I have not. I take great precaution not to be bit by those things. I have an uncle that was bit by them. My dad's been bit by them. You know, so I know people who've been bit by them. I know what to do. I know what to expect. I know what the end results are. So I just don't want to go through all that. So respect the snake, respect what he can do to you, and respect his ability to really fuck your world up, you know? So you just be real careful with him. One thing on his mind, that's to get away. Alright, go check out the introduction, guys. Check out the other videos. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. See you later.